All right.
It's things like that. Yeah.
Can everybody?
Yeah. Just pay to have somebody else post everything. Yeah. I think eventually it'll happen, regardless, because you can't. 200 goes to 220 goes to just to maintain. Eventually, people are gonna say, this is enough.
I got it. I'm
100
under
sounds better.
control.
110, 120 sounds better to me. Best of luck. Nice meeting you. Yep.
You know what will?
This is your roast, Eileen Harley.
You know what will make me feel better? My hat.
Unless you want this to be a roast, I wouldn't wear that.
Are you going to do invocation, then flag salute, or flag salute, then invocation?
I'm going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and
And
the
then
invocation.
Yes.
Yes. I'll do the
Correct.
pledge and you'll do the invocation. You want to do both? Whatever you're comfortable with, then you could do both. I know the words, so it's,
That's the one thing he knows.
Usually we do you want to do the invocation first? Usually we do the pledge and then the invocation.
So, you want me to call him or you got somebody else?
Testing.
Does my brother know he called? No. You should have texted me. I would have called him myself and said,
Hello.
maybe he's away. I don't know. Maybe
Can everybody please take their seats?
Oh, he did call you back.
Tell Bill he's got to turn this on.
Yeah, I know.
Where's Billy?
I voted just.
You again.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I don't know.
New chairs, huh?
Very good question. That was not discussed.
I like them, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He said no because we did it at triple pledge.
I lost that.
That's ceremonial part.
I mean, that badge. I only have this one. That's it. I'll ask her. I hold them. Remember
Only if you
when we first got them?
I
I lifted the bag and threw the bag away. So I was like, yeah,
That is your bag, please.
I
I
don't
even
care.
put
if
it
you
in a
guys want
separate
to.
bag.
Testing.
I actually took it out of my bag. Don't let me forget this.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Throw that across the.
Testing.
Oh, so we can't, it won't.
How are they going to hear me unless I yell? Do I talk?
Just like, I have this one.
Oh, I can talk louder. It's not a problem.
So,
Thank you.
how are they gonna
Yes,
just
I
do
have
it?
to pronunciate.
He's gonna have to talk loud? Yeah. All right, so just have to talk loud. No mic?
The mic goes on.
Hmm?
The mic goes on.
It's working, but it's on mine working. Oh, so it doesn't work in the room. Project, that's all.
Microphone's working, it's just.
No, it works.
It's not mine. Yeah, dude, call the order, pledge of allegiance, and we're gonna do our pact.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Jared, do you have a verification of quorum?
Mr. President, we do have a quorum present.
Thank you. I would now like to call up, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Christina Clemens will now give the invocation. Please stand again.
Stand, please. Is that on? Okay. May those assembled here today enjoy the many opportunities afforded by New Jersey Realtors. May we abide by the rules we have established, those of trust, fellowship, and ethics, and may we place service above self in our daily endeavors. May we always test ourselves and our efforts to be sure they are the truth, good for all concerned, of benefit to mankind and provide peace and understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for attending the 2018 RPAC Awards session. I'm Christian Sluter, your immediate past president. Before we start with the presentation of the RPAC Local and Board Association Awards, I'd like to congratulate and thank everyone for your work in raising RPAC funds last year. I believe we were at 102% of goal. I'm happy to report that with the help of dedicated realtors like yourselves, we exceeded our national total dollars collected goal and our President's Circle goal. Your support truly made a difference in supporting candidates supportive of the Realtor Party. And this was no more evident than through the defeat of proposals to increase the realty transfer fee and create a seasonal rental tax last year. At this time, it is now my privilege to present the RPAC Awards to 14 of our local board associations in honor of their exceptional performance in support of RPAC in 2018. When your board is called, please come forward to accept your award from Angela Sicoli, our 2018 Major Council Representative and 2019 President-elect. Excuse me for that. Atlantic City and County Board of Realtors. Second place, medium board member participation. Third place, medium board total dollars collected. And third place, medium board per capita.
Drew can do it.
Thanks, Drew. Cape May County Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 103%. First place, medium board member participation. Second place, medium board total dollars collected. And second place, medium board per capita. Accepting the award. The Core Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 100%. Eastern Bergen County Board of Realtors, exceeding goal 141%. And first place, large board per capita. Second place, large board member participation. And third place, large board total dollars collected. Mercer County Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 100%. Metro Center Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 105%, and third place, large board per capita. North Central Jersey Association of Realtors, second place, large board, total dollars collected. Monmouth Ocean Regional Realtors, exceeding goal 100%, and first place, large board, total dollars collected. Ocean County Board of Realtors, exceeding goal 112%, first place, medium board, total dollars collected, first place, medium board per capita, and third place, medium board member participation. Ocean City Board of Realtors, second place, small board member participation, third place, small board total dollars collected, and third place, small board per capita. Passaic County Board of Realtors, third place, large board member participation. Real Source Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 124%, first place large board member participation, and second place large board per capita. Sussex County Association of Realtors, exceeding goal 150%, first place small board member participation, first place small board per capita, second place small board total dollars collected. West Essex Board of Realtors, exceeding goal 142%. First place small board total dollars collected, second place small board per capita, and third place small board member participation. Congratulations to all of our local boards and associations for your hard work. I'd now like to thank the RPAC major investors for their generous support. Please hold your applause until the end of each category. Let me begin by recognizing the National RPAC Hall of Fame members who have invested $25,000 or more or $50,000 over the course of their lifetime. At the $25,000 level, Judy Appleby, Christina Benasiak, Eugenia Bonilla, Roseanne Sitta, Mary Davis, Alan Deckert, Drew Fishman, Jared Grasso, William Hanley, Randy Keetive, Cindy Marsh-Tishy, Angela Sicoli, Doug Thompson, Ned Ward, Robert White, and Gloria Woodward. The NAR RPAC Hall of Fame $50,000 level, Christina Clemens, Charles Oppler. For 2018, our major RPAC investors are 2018 Platinum R, Monmouth Ocean Regional Realtors, New Jersey Realtors, North Central Jersey Association of Realtors. 2018 Charter Golden R, Gloria Woodward. 2018 Golden R, Metro Center Association of Realtors. Sustaining Golden R. Did you know you were going to give me all these names to do?
Yeah, I did.
Christina Benasiak, Eugenia Bonilla, Christina Clemens, Mary Davis, that guy Jared again, William Hanley, Eileen Horowitz, Randy Keetive, Charles Oppler, Angela Sicoli, and Robert White. Crystal R, Kathleen Morin, Ocean County Board of Realtors, Passaic County Board of Realtors. Sustaining Crystal R, Kim Ward Baxo, Alan Deckert, Eastern Bergen County Board of Realtors, David Falk, T.G. Glazer, Core Association of Realtors, James Jorman, Lynn Mortimer, Robert Oppenheimer, Mary Ryder, the Sussex County Association of Realtors, Carol Tangora, and John Terraby Jr. Thank you to all of our major investors for your generous support of RPAC. I'd also like to thank our realtors from New Jersey who participated in the President's Circle program this year. This sign's messing me up, you know that.
You don't have to do the names again. Do you want to?
I'll go through them, sure. Christina Benasiak, Eugenia Bonilla,
President's Circle.
President Circle, I'm sorry. Keep up. Christina Clemens, Mary Davis, Alan Deckert, William Flagg, T.G. Glazer, Jared Grasso, William, I'm sure that means Hanley, Eileen Horowitz, Randy Keetive, Lynn Mortimer, Bob Oppenheimer, Charles Oppler, Mike Panisi, Chris Schluter, Angela Sicoli, Carol Tangora, Doug Thompson, Robert White. And that's it. Thank you. Realtors in President's Circle invested an additional $2,000 directly to federal candidates backed by NAR of their choice beyond their major investor contribution. To learn more about this program, please reach out to either Doug or Bruce. On behalf of myself and your leadership team, I'd like to personally thank John Terraby
who is our 2018 RPAC Chair, the RPAC trustees, our local boards association, all our members who supported RPAC. Your hard work has made 2018 the successful year it was, and I'm sure will continue strong into 2019. Again, let's congratulate all today's RPAC winners, and this concludes our presentation. Thank you. Conflict of interest policy, Barry Goodman.
Okay, hopefully all of you have had a chance to read the conflict of interest policy that was in your board packet. So I'm not really going to go into that very much. It's very clear. If you are providing any type of services to the New Jersey Realtors or any company in which you are involved is providing any services, let us know right away so we can deal with any conflict of interest. Quite frankly, the more important issue to me is where you have more of an indirect interest, conflict of interest. Very often what will happen is that we have a vote on maybe to support a particular office through legal affairs, or there's a risk management issue that comes up. So just by way of example, let's say that maybe a WICARD office is going to benefit from the vote, and you're a member of another WICARD office, not even the same one. You should come and talk to me, talk to Jared, talk to Eileen, so that we can decide whether or not you should participate in that kind of a vote that may indirectly affect your company, even though it doesn't personally affect you. Or maybe it's a question of the issue is something for your board that you represent, and you want to find out whether or not that creates a conflict. There are going to be times that I'm going to say, no, it's not a conflict. There are going to be times I'm going to say, just don't vote on it. And other times I'm going to say, you should leave the room during the discussion so that your presence doesn't affect the vote in any way. The example, as far as I'm concerned, that to me is personal, is later on the agenda. You see that there's going to be a vote whether or not my law firm should be retained this year as general counsel for the New Jersey Realtors. No comments, Christian or Jared. And during that vote, when the motion is made, I will leave the room just in case anybody wants to say something that, they might not want to say with me in the room, but they feel free to say it. Turn around. Feel free to say it if I'm not in the room. But that's the kind of situation where I don't think I should be in the room, so that people are free to say what they want to say. Okay? If anybody has any questions about conflicts of interest, I'd be glad to answer them or talk to me afterwards. But take a look at the agenda going forward. Make sure if you see anything that's even a potential conflict, an issue, contact me, Jared, or Eileen so that we can deal with it ahead of time. Of course, if you realize it at a meeting, come up and talk to us and we'll deal with it. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Well, Jeff doesn't have any questions, so therefore we can move on.
Does anybody want to talk about Barry while he's here? Right now. Or say something that he hasn't heard already. We're going to move on now to, coincidentally, harassment training. And I'm going to introduce Maya Abravich to speak to us.
Okay, thank you.
Where, from where?
Don't mind come up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just so I'll explain while she's setting up. Maya is the head of our employment department at the firm, and she handles all kinds of employment issues, representing various businesses, doing handbooks, dealing with harassment issues, etc. She was asked to come today to do a harassment seminar for the board, because quite frankly, you are, when you're in this office, when you're acting as a board member, whether here or anywhere else, you have to be aware of the fact that if you do something, it could affect the New Jersey Realtors, and a claim can be brought. You say something to an employee, even another board member that is inappropriate, that presents a problem. So with that, I would just want you to pay careful attention to this, because this is one of those issues that people say, oh, I know about harassment. But let me tell you, it's usually inadvertent comments and such that create harassment. So with that, I probably took away Maya's opening statements, but that's okay. Maya, it's yours.
Thank you, Barry. Good to meet you all. So this is just to clarify anti-harassment training. I'm going to teach you how to stay away from that. I have been told that the time is of essence, so we are going to try. I believe that all of you have the material that has been distributed. that's sort of like a template for this presentation. But it's that the brevity of the presentation is not to detract of the importance of this issue. I'm sure that all of you are aware that if there is any social movement that marked 2018, it's Me Too movement of last year, and the highly publicized cases against various celebrities who were exposed as serial harassers have been in forefront of news all year last year. And as a result of that, there is certainly a significant uptick in sexual harassment claims filed in all courts and on all levels. And that is not going to change. There has been some legislative response to this phenomenon. There is, for example, there was a change in federal tax law that no longer allows tax deduction for the corporations that pay out settlements. There is serious push to enact a legislation, especially in New Jersey, that would ban any confidentiality of any settlements that result from the either sexual harassment or any kind of discrimination. So that would possibly make, if passed, it would make, first of all, these cases way more difficult to settle, and they would certainly expose or affect any individual defendant's reputation forever. So it's very important to know and pay attention as to what is considered appropriate and what is not appropriate these days. So we have this kind of cartoon that says, "Is waking Sleeping Beauty with a kiss sexual harassment?" In light of today's movement, maybe the pendulum has swung the other way. I have read an article yesterday about so-called Pence effect. Apparently, Michael Pence has adopted this personal policy where he does not lunch or have dinner with any woman one-on-one if it's not his wife. That's probably extreme. That's probably in a very strict way discriminatory, but it tells you what the reaction was to what has been happening. So what is sexual harassment? There is the material has here long list of what it is. We'll go through it somewhat. So obviously any direct or indirect threats for unwanted sexual activity. So if you don't come to my room, you don't have to show up to work tomorrow is obvious example. Any sexual innuendos, comments like, what did you do last night? What did you do with your boyfriend? Intrusive, sexually explicit questions. We had actually a case where a woman came to work, said, "I have a hip problem," and her supervisor asked, "Well, did you throw out your hip having sex with your boyfriend last night?" Obviously inappropriate. Any suggestive sounds like, sucking noises, wings, pelvic thrusts, all that kind of stuff is out of question. Repeatedly asking person out for dates. Obviously, people do form relationships at work. And it's not in itself harassment to say to someone respectfully, would you consider going out with me once? But you have to take no as a no, and it has to be limited to that. Any insistence on it would rise to a domain of harassment. Rating person's sexuality, saying she's a 10 or she's a 3 or whatever would be there. Ogling, leering, staring at women's breasts, spreading rumors that somebody's gay or nymphomaniac or whatever. Frequent jokes about sex. And this we have seen quite a bit in the practice because people, especially in smaller institutions, get cozy and familiar with each other. They feel they can tell things. We had one client that had a salesperson who's very charismatic, funny guy. And he was working with another salesperson who was kind of laughing to his jokes. She had sort of like a foul language herself, which later we discovered through her Facebook activity. But, and things were all well and good until they decided that her performance really is such that they need to terminate her. And that's when she no longer found his jokes funny. So after she was terminated, she complained when it became imminent that she will be terminated, and after that alleged the claim and named him as a harasser, and some of the jokes came up. For example, she said that at one point, whatever, she had peanuts on her desk, and he came by and said, would you like to try my nuts? And needless to say, we had to settle the case. So, so everything that is inappropriate in person is equally inappropriate in letters, emails, phone calls, and so on. Displaying any sexually explicit calendars, pictures, cartoons is inappropriate. Obvious and probably criminal activities would be an attempt of to sexually assault someone, stalking. In that realm are also like stereotypical comments about somebody's appearance and pregnancy-related appearance, pressure for sexual activities with some promise of a gain, like, you know, let's go to this trip together, and I know your performance review is coming up, and I'll see that it'll be good, and so on. Any unwanted physical activity, obviously, like pinching, grabbing, and so on is inappropriate, but even much more innocuous physical contact, some people can interpret as inappropriate, patting on the back, just stay away from that. Obviously, graffiti and about person's sexuality, gender-based name calling, bitch, and so on would fall within a category of harassment. So, what laws prohibit harassment? In New Jersey has enacted very comprehensive New Jersey law against discrimination. There are federal laws. There is Title VII and the Civil Rights Act. They prohibit harassment, not only heterosexual harassment, but also homosexual harassment. Harassment can be also men on men. For example, there was a case of a very young technician in a hospital who was mercilessly teased by his male colleagues for being inexperienced and naive and allegedly having no experience with women. And he complained about it, and it became very pervasive, very offensive. They would put like posters of kittens in his cubby and say, you know, is this any pussy, that the only pussy you ever saw, that kind of stuff. And he was, he actually filed a harassment claim and prevailed. So it's important to know that the harassment is not only gender-based. There is here on one of the pages listing of all the protected characteristics of people under the New Jersey LAD. And it includes race, creed, color, national origin, nationality, ancestry, age and sex, familial status, marital status. With this, for example, came up last year. There was a case where a man who was going through divorce, or at the beginning, who announced that he and his wife are separating, and he gets terminated, and he alleged that the termination was based on the employer's perception or assumption that because the divorce was going to be nasty, he was not going to pay attention to his work enough, and he prevailed. Domestic partnership status, affectional or sexual orientation, atypical hereditary blood or cellular trait, genetic characteristic, liability for military service, some disability, whether mental or physical, or perceived disability, just thinking that somebody's disabled. So in order to prevail, the accuser has to show that the harassment would not have happened but for that characteristic of the person. But it's important to make sure that this is not just gender-based. So there are two main types of the sexual harassment at workplace, so-called quid pro quo and hostile working environment. Why we are going through this, as a general matter, employer is liable for harassment and discrimination that happens at workplace unless they can show that they have taken some preventive measures and that they are taking this type of activity very seriously and are truly committed to combating it. So there is, in 2015, there was New Jersey Supreme Court case, Aguas, that created what's called in legalese affirmative defense. So what's usually expected if an employer has a robust and well-crafted anti-harassment policy and also complaint procedure, which the association has, and I hope you all have it, and it is well-crafted and well-drafted and distributed, as I understand, last time in November 15th. That's step number one. There has to be a training, and like courts have recently held that it's probably annual training that is necessary. So you may expect to see me, or should demand to see me in a year, so that you are all protected. So if those two are in place, if harassment happens and nobody follows the procedure and doesn't bring it to the attention of the management, then the employer has affirmative defense and said, we have enacted policy, we have trained people, they have just not taken advantage of it, we had no way of knowing. That is affirmative defense. So that's in part why we are doing this. It's also important that the employer follows through, and that if there is complaint, we'll talk about complaint procedure a little more, but it's important that any reaction to this type of complaint be taken seriously and very swiftly. So first type of harassment is quid pro quo harassment. That's like that, this for that. If you do this for me, I will make sure I do some favors to you, and it's usually sexual favors that we are talking about. You get promotion, or you will lose job if you don't. So that one is pretty straightforward, and usually does not happen all that straightforward. But like that, the example would be like, supervisor flies with an employee, puts his hand on her leg, and asks whether they would be sharing the room, and she says no, and the next day she's out, and so they have definitely a lawsuit on their hands. The other type of harassment is hostile working environment, but that can happen at the hands of either supervisor or co-worker, or it can be a third party. It could be a vendor that employees is like dealing with on a regular basis, who harass that person to a level that their working environment becomes toxic. So, so the elements of hostile working environment are, first, that the harassment would not have happened but for that person's gender or other protected characteristic. It is either severe or pervasive, and we'll talk about what that means. That it would be offensive to a reasonable person, which is to really take out of the equation the so-called eggshell plaintiff, somebody who's just tapped and they fall apart. And the conditions are so altered that the working environment for the person becomes abusive. So, so sexual harassment obviously must be gender-based, and so we said it needs to be either severe or pervasive. If it's severe, it can be one-time occurrence, but it has to be egregious. So there was case Taylor versus Metzger, where the plaintiff, this woman was a young police recruit, and she was on a training, and she was meeting with a number of her fellow police officers for a certain type of training, and the sheriff was there, and as she was approaching, he says, well, there comes Jungle Bunny. And the court thought that was sufficiently racially offensive to constitute harassment based on that one comment, and it was also sufficient to be a basis for intentional infliction of emotional distress. So this type of harassment can happen, doesn't have to happen, it doesn't have to be, again, men and women. So this second fact pattern really comes from this case, Lizak versus Good News Home for Women. So this was an institution that just, it's basically women's shelter. So just women worked there. There was a meeting, and the supervisor was an African American woman. There was this tense meeting and the debate about something, and the supervisor approached one of the people who were protesting some of the policies and tells her, "Are you still pissed at me? Because if you are, I'm going to stare at them big blue eyes and pet those white titties." So then she approaches her and pushes her against the desk and stares at her and then strokes her breast in sexual manner. And so the employee flees. She actually had some history of abuse, sexual abuse as a child. And so she asserted a claim immediately, and the court held that this occurrence was enough to establish not only sexual harassment, but also reverse discrimination in that case, reverse racial discrimination. So unlike these one-time occurrences that are egregious, there is pervasive conduct that may rise to that level. And those are situations where somebody is constantly targeted because of their sex or gender or their protected characteristic in some fashion. So, again, a case, there was a woman who was a nurse at St. Joseph's Hospital, and went to Nabisco Food to be their chief medical compliance officer. She comes, she's a relatively good-looking woman. The comments start immediately that she's there to, she's also divorced, so the comments start that she's there really to just find another husband. She must have done somebody a sexual favor, that's why she got that job. She also does a good job because she's in charge of some union issues and OSHA issues and so on. So there are rumors that she's sleeping with the union representative. Her supervisor dismisses any of her criticism as she's having PMS. There are frequent questions as to whether she got lucky last night. There are comments about her hygiene, which douche that she uses, and so on. So after a year of that, she goes on leave for anxiety and doesn't come back, and claims that she was constructively discharged because it was impossible for her to continue working in such toxic environment. And the court agreed. So that's an example of pervasive conduct that rises to the level of hostile working environment. So the question is, if you feel that you are subject to any of this type of behavior, what to do? Again, we have just discussed that there is a process that the association has and that delineates who to comply to. So it's either CEO or COO, and you should know that. You should consult the policy, and you should voice your concerns if you are subject to that type of behavior, because otherwise you may be waiving your right. On the other hand, the association is committed to investigating promptly this type of allegations and taking appropriate action. What is appropriate action? Again, depends on the circumstances. Sometimes it's possible to just separate the two employees. Sometimes some sort of counseling will be sufficient. Sometimes termination is appropriate. So you should know your rights and exercise them. The association is also well aware and committed to no retaliation policy. So if somebody comes and complains, you can be assured that there will be no adverse action taken against you as a result of it. Retaliation is really so the adverse action can be not only termination, it can be demotion, it can be lack of bonus when everybody else is getting bonus. And what is retaliation in itself? It's really opposition to something that you perceive as being illegal, or filing of a complaint or testifying in some sort of procedure, whether it's court procedure initiated by somebody else or internal investigation. So we went through this, what an employer would not retaliate against the employee who either opposes illegal activity, files harassment claim, testifies in investigation, threatens to file a charge, requests some accommodations for disability or for religious reasons, and so on. So we said it doesn't have to be firing. It could be different types of actions that materially change to worse your position at the employment. So there are, however, cases where like this protection that's afforded to the employees can be abused. And there we had a number of cases where the employee feels that maybe they're on thin ice, they're not doing a good job, and then they complain. And they complain because they want to be protected through this anti-retaliation clause. If the association or any employer is faced with this type of issue, those become very tricky to handle. And it is important that you consult the lawyer and deal with it very tactfully. It is important also to note that there is a potential individual liability by supervisors. So, and the supervisor under NJLAD is not necessarily just the person who is entitled so. It could be a person, also a person who sort of directs day-to-day activities of the employee. Such person would also be considered supervisor. So supervisor liability could stem from either participating in harassing conduct or ignoring the conduct that they are well aware of or covering it up. So these are the basics of our training for today. I'm here for any questions that you may have. I hope this is somewhat informative and helpful for you to guide you to where this line, which I'm sure is shifting and changing somewhat, lies. But these are some of the parameters with some of the guidance from real cases in New Jersey. So let me know if you have, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so you briefly touched on the fact that if there's spurious accusation, are there defensible methods in place which makes it easier to defend against spurious accusation, not that person?
So first of all, it is important for institution to do investigation, internal investigation. There are many do's and don'ts about those investigations, depending on who is implicated, how high up the person implicated is. You may do it internally, or you may engage an outside counsel who would presumably be more neutral in investigating. Because that should happen close to the time of the incident, everybody implicated should be interviewed. And that becomes important evidence down the line if the matter actually turns into litigation. Are there foolproof ways to insulate yourself? Probably not. Probably not. There have been many cases of people whose reputation has been severely harmed by bogus claims. That's why this notion that perhaps the bill should be passed where any settlement would not be able to be confidential has far-reaching consequences. The impetus for that is that the fact that the Harvey Weinstein allegations remain confidential, perhaps resulted in more victims that were not alerted to the fact that he is predator. On the other hand, for innocent accused people, it is reputational damage that is at issue that you would not be able to mitigate. Yes.
You're speaking about employer, but many of us that are with association, we have employees and we also have members who are not paid employees. So how do these rules apply to the members, and what kind of disclosures do you have to give to them about following the rules of harassing and making a hostile work environment for our employees, or vice versa, our employees harassing them? Just curious.
So I think that your relationship to the association as a member makes you sort of in a position of the employer. So the rules, to the extent that you are working with the employees, is that what you're asking me? Or if you were bringing a claim?
So
Yeah.
Fran, if I can, I think what Fran is saying, that as a director or a member of the association, how does that impact the director with the employee, or vice versa, if the employee is actually harassing a member of the association, right?
Because everything you talked about.
Could be reverse.
Right.
Yes, if the employee is harassing a member, that would certainly be on the same level as the opposite. I mean, the hostile working environment can be created by an employee or coworker or your subordinate, if that subordinate is engaging in like harsh and inappropriate behavior. So.
And part two of this, Maya, if I may,
Sure.
part of the training that NAR gave during the leadership summit during the summer, which is where my mind went when I was sitting there with Eileen and their chief counsels giving examples of harassment. And it was so that the board of director member or the individual member, who all of you are at your local level, you are basically our employers as a staff member. You pay dues to the association. So therefore, if you are doing anything to say, hey, if you don't come up to my room tomorrow night, you know, I might have to tell your president or tell somebody else who's your supervisor that you're not doing a good job, that is harassment. Just because you are not working directly, and I'm just using Fran, but of course anybody, just because just because you are not my direct employer, or right, you're not directly paying me, you're paying into the association, you can be viewed, or a staff member can view you as their superior, and therefore it can be viewed as harassment.
Yeah, you're a representative of the board, and as a result, you know, the board is liable for your conduct. One of the things Maya said was, it's not only limited to that, it could be a third-party vendor, somebody who's dropping off goods and, you know, providing services to your board, who's harassing the employee or the member. So it's pretty far-reaching in that regard.
Okay.
Robert.
Does it make sense to revisit current plan, make sure that number one, all protected classes are done in November 2015?
No,
No, this is November of 18.
I'm sorry, Robert. We did a new employee handbook this past year. Yes, brand new. Yep. Yeah. She said November 15th, 2018. There you go.
Okay, with that, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you very much.
I would just one additional comment to take away from what Maya said. You know, certainly we're here today to make sure that, you know, New Jersey Realtors is protected, but each of you should be thinking in terms of your own office, whether you're a local association, whether you're a brokerage office, in terms of the same type of seminar, because the fact is, your independent contractor, salespeople in your offices, all can raise, you know, harassment claims. They're protected as an employee would be protected. So you may want to think along those lines in terms of your own office if you haven't had any type of training recently.
Thank you. Thank you, Maya. Moving along, we're going to go to the consent agenda. We're going to do things a little bit differently. If anybody here attended, this is the minutes of September 12th. In order to vote on this, you would have to have been attending at that meeting. But what we're going to do instead was, for those who were here during September 12th, if you've had a chance to review the minutes, does anybody have any corrections for the minutes that they'd like to propose? If not, it will be considered accepted. Next, for the consent agenda, we're going to have a motion to approve the professional development report, which is the remaining item on the consent agenda. So I'm asking for a motion. Motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we're going to move it to a vote. Get your phones out. Motion carries. Thank you. It is now time for Nick Manis to give the treasurer's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm reporting the preliminary financial report dated December 31, 2018. This report is preliminary as we're waiting on receipt of additional invoices. We saw a steady increase in membership during 2018, resulting in an increase of 3,739 members. Our membership on December 31st was 54,372, broken down as follows. Realtor member count was 39,058. Realtor associate members, 14,161. Emeritus members, 513. And secondary members, 640. To highlight income and expenses, we met our budgeted amount for Realtor and Realtor associate dues along with the Institute affiliate dues. The proceeds from the 2018 convention will be reflected in the convention service fee line once AAA has been finalized, and this is not expected until early March. Interest income for December is not reflected in the report as some bank statements were not available yet, and we expect that to be approximately $75,000 over the budgeted amount. Now, regarding expenses, for contributions, the increase in contributions was due to a $25,000 contribution to Realtor Relief Fund to help with the recent hurricane storms, and also $25,000 to the California Association's Relief Fund to help with the fires in California. The insurance line item will be offset with payments from AAA in the building. And we've also approved Jared's contract, as per Jared's contract for a purchase of a car. And we decided to pay that out in full as opposed to financing it because it made more economic sense. And at this point, I would like to make a motion to approve this preliminary financial report dated December 31, 2018.
Can I have a second on the motion, please? Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we're moving to a vote.
What's that? A Jeep. Oh, anytime you want. Let's go for a ride today. I'll take you to downtown Trenton. Take you downtown Trenton. We'll have fun. I'll drop you off.
Should be playing Jeopardy music. Motion is passed.
I would also like to make a motion to approve the waiver of New Jersey Realtors dues for members and their spouses that are called into active military duty for the year of 2019.
Taking all the fun out of me asking questions. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Sir William, would you please open voting?
Sir William.
We've knighted him.
Yes. Sir William.
Yeah, man. We should have music playing.
I know, right? We'll
Jeopardy.
incorporate that into
The final Jeopardy question.
the news system as we update it.
Motion carries. Thank you, Nick. I'd now like to call up Jared, our Chief Executive Officer, for his report.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy New Year. So thank you for sitting through the harassment training. you know, Eileen and I, when we were out in Chicago, and many of you had the opportunity to attend the Chicago Leadership Summit, that's where, and I mentioned this, the light bulb went off that, you know, we haven't done this as a board. And I asked Barry if he ever remembers doing it, and Barry was here a lot longer than I have been, and no.
Never.
And I would advise all your local boards to take that extra step to create some type of make sure the policy is in place. A, you have to have the policies, but B, do some type of training for your board of directors and for your leadership members. You know, I know it's hard not to laugh at some of the scenarios, but it's also scary that those scenarios actually happen in today's day and age. And it's a very serious thing here, and something that I take very serious and that the leadership team takes very serious. So thank you for sitting through that training, but it is a necessary part, and you will see Maya back or another representative from Barry's firm absolutely in years to come. We're going to keep going with this. I was asked what's going on with NAR and politically what's going on. Obviously, Charlie Oppler is in the beginning stages of appointing his leadership for his presidency in 2021. There is a candidate that has been identified, and we have, as a state, endorsed her candidacy, and that's Leslie Ruder Smith, who is running unopposed for NAR president in 2022. The application process is still currently open because there was a rule change that was made at the last board of directors meeting for NAR back in November that keeps the process open until June, I believe, where under our rules, we had to file by February 15th. Under the new rules, I think you have till June something, and I don't remember the date. But that person would be running for 2023. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Kenny Parcell from Utah. I don't think that there's anybody foolish enough to challenge him. He's a very popular candidate. 2024, there will be several candidates, I believe, coming out for 2024, 2025. I think that's also going to be a contested race. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out over the next several years. And I know that Florida, the state that we defeated for Charlie's position, is looking at 2026, 2027 as their next go around to run for NAR president. Any questions about NAR, any policies, anything that you've read? No? All right. Yeah, sure.
You and I talked earlier, we're going to endorse Leslie as a region. I know PAR has come out and endorsed her already.
So unfortunately, PARs, yes, we have taken a vote. Our NAR directors, the New Jersey NAR directors, took a vote last year, and we're ready to, we have told Leslie that we've endorsed her as a region, and we thought that we were going to stick with a regional endorsement. PAR decided to put out their own state endorsement, which we can now follow suit. We were keeping with what we talked about as a region and not doing it. We were showing the power of the region. For whatever reason, Bill McFalls posted something, I believe, this morning on yesterday. Somebody sent it to me this morning that says that PAR has proudly endorsed her as a state. Of course, we endorsed her as a state, but we thought we were staying as a region. So, all right. A couple of things that's going on here. Video production studio on the second floor is in full swing. We've ordered the furniture. We're going to have a kind of a network desk. We're going to have equipment in there. We're going to have a teleprompter. We're going to have all the lighting set up. We're contracting with a separate firm to do all the video shoots for us. We will work with that firm so that if local associations want to utilize our space and that firm at the same time, maybe we could partner with you so you can shoot your own individual messages at a reduced rate because we're defraying some of the costs of travel and so on and so forth because the team will be here already. So let me work on that. We're still in the beginning stages. I hope to have the studio done by the end of Q1 of this year and our first video shoot beginning of Q2. Eileen, and she'll go over her messaging, but Eileen is pushing for more member outreach and greater member outreach. And this is going to be our way of trying to touch more members, communicate better with more of our members. Another goal of ours for 2019 is MLS integration for Circle of Excellence. We are hearing from our members that the next thing that they would like to see is for us to try to get some type of RETS feed so the forms auto-populate. William, our technology director, is working, has created a plan. We are going to set out to implement that plan over the course of this year so we could have that implemented for next year's award. Fingers crossed. You know, it only works if we could get all the MLSs to incorporate the RETS feed, because without that, you're going to have a member in one MLS, in multiple MLSs, but only one of them cooperating, and it just wouldn't work. So hopefully, we with all of you as our director members, if we run into any roadblocks from an MLS standpoint, we'll reach out to you and ask for your assistance. Chris Schluter, Media Past President, will be leading the charge on our behalf on this project. Legislative update. You saw that, most of you should have seen an email that I sent out. NAR is asking if there's any issues going on with the federal shutdown. If you happen to experience anything, please let us know immediately. We want to get that information over to NAR. NAR is being asked by members of Congress to see what's going on out in the field. Lucky for us, the NFIP and the FEMA stuff was kind of worked out temporarily and funding was there, so we didn't lose the closing process. But who knows how long this thing's going to play out, and who knows what the next steps are. So if you hear something, please just let us know. We'll be happy to convey that message over to NAR. State-wise, there's a hearing on Thursday on lead paint. It's up for discussion only. We've already testified once about the negative impacts of lead paint testing here in the state of New Jersey. We've given alternatives to try to target high lead areas in the state of New Jersey, like the Pattersons, the Newarks, the Camdens, without tying it to the sale of real estate. I'm hopeful that this is just a discussion item that the chairman wanted to have, and this issue kind of fades away because there's not going to get any more press on it. But who knows? If it is something that is going to be moving through the legislature, we will activate our action center. We'll make sure that the local boards have everything they need to help us combat this issue. Next, I just want to talk about board mergers. We talked about it in our executive committee. I know we've had a lot of board mergers this past year. Just to go over the names of the new boards, we have the Hunterdon, Somerset, and Mercer board, which is now called Core Association of Realtors. We have the Burlington, Camden, and Ocean County boards of Realtors, which is now called the Nexus Association of Realtors. And we have the Eastern Bergen and Real Source Board of Realtors, who have merged into the Greater Bergen Association of Realtors. I'm sure that there's a lot of other discussions out there that maybe I'm not even aware of. And we're here as a resource. If anybody needs us, please let us know. We'll be happy to facilitate any type of conversations need be. Staff update. Since we're in a new year, we've done some restructuring internally, done some promotions internally, and some sharing of services internally, making sure we utilize everybody to their fullest. Martha Chinese will continue to be our COO. We love Martha and hope she stays with us forever. Andrea Burgess is our membership coordinator. She works directly for Martha. Jennifer Alexander is our executive services coordinator. We have Teresa Tilton, who is director of professional standards. She was membership in professional standards. It was too confusing for the members when they were reading through the things. So we took the membership part of course, she's going to help members, but we don't have to have the membership part of the title. She is now working with Valerie Callan, and Valerie was assigned directly only to Teresa, but Valerie is also going to be shared with Mary Pilar. So Valerie's title is Membership and Professional Services Coordinator, and Mary Pilar is Director of Member Outreach. You may recall that Mary was our communications director. We've switched her title because she's doing strategic planning. She's doing all our foundations. That's more of a member outreach component of what we're offering. Doug Thompson has been promoted to Vice President of Government Affairs. Bruce Shapiro is our Deputy Director of Regulatory Affairs, and David Grant is our Deputy Director of Government Affairs. William Thompson is our Director of Technology. Underneath him is Zachary Schneider, who is our Technology Coordinator. Maureen Murphy has been promoted to Vice President of Professional Development. Christy Starrick is the Deputy Director of Professional Development. Colleen King is Director of Public Relations and Marketing, and under her is Erin McFeeters, who is the content coordinator, and Dana Fiore, communications coordinator. So that's our team. So a lot of people, you know, I said this in our executive committee meeting, you look at New York Association, not to criticize them, but they have 57,000 members. We're around 55,000 members. They probably have 29 to 30 full-time staffers, and we have 17 full-time staffers. And I think we run a lean, mean ship, and we provide a lot of service for our members. So kudos to the team that we have in place. Honestly, they deserve a round of applause. Couple of housekeeping items. We've mentioned that there's a new employee handbook that I implemented this past year. We had an attorney that was given to us through the New Jersey Business and Industry Association through many seminars that we had gone to, Martha had gone to. We utilized their services to rewrite our employee handbook for 2018. We have had full training. So the training that you went through today, we had the attorney who created the handbook do full training for the staff. We have 2 other staff members that have to complete the training, which we hope to have done in the next several weeks. The Who's Who book for the board of directors is now live. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's an app. You can download it, right? Do I call it an app, Bill? What do I call it? All right, it's a website, but you can download it onto your phone. It's a website that you can download on the phone. So to me, it's an app. To him, it's a website, Mr. Technology. So anyway, that's live, ready to go. If you see any incorrect information, please just let us know. We'll be happy to make that correction. I mentioned to the executive committee, the March executive committee is going to be canceled due to our health visits that we have scheduled with the leadership team. So there will be no executive committee meeting in March. And with that, that concludes my report. Oh, last but not least, we are in negotiations. 2 things. We're in negotiations on the Broad Street side of the building, which is the space directly under us with a local law firm. We're hoping to get them in the next several months, or at least lock down the contract in the next several months so that we can start the renovation process downstairs. And we have decided as a leadership team to reclaim the space on the Hamilton side of the building, which is the wing this way, on the lower level that has the plaza tied to it. We're going to create that into conference space so that knowing that there's a lack of conference space in the Trenton area, we would still lease it out to individual organizations to hold events down there, but utilize it for us when we need it for meeting purposes. And we saw the success of Realtor Palooza, and we felt that that space was crucial to have so we could have another successful event in 2019. So that concludes my report. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? No, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jared. Eileen, you getting nervous?
Not at all.
It's almost time.
You should never poke the bear.
All righty. Oh, well, I'm ready. Well,
Okay. Billy, they're saying that the sound on the video, they can't hear us. That's clear. Thank you.
because you don't talk as loud as I do.
No, I guess I had to shout.
Thank you. This is my last moment up here, so I wanted to thank all of you. The vote on Jared will take place in a minute. I want to
Jared,
thank
you'll have to
everybody.
leave the room.
Oh, no chance.
Blockade.
I've had a wonderful year. I was blessed to work with a great team, both surrounding me now, sitting out here, all of you, and especially our staff, who, in my mind, are second to none. Had a lot of things going on this year. We got our town halls off the ground, which Eileen will talk about, continuing on. As I said in Atlantic City, the night that we installed Eileen, I'm as excited as today leaving as I was coming in. I'm happy with where we are, where we're headed, and the direction that we're continuing to go in. The one thing, though, that one of the things that I wasn't able to get completely accomplished this past year, we're going to launch in February, is a prescription drug awareness program. For those of you who know me, know in my last life I was a police officer working narcotics for a long time, so I got to see the downside of everything that's still going on today. So what we're doing is we're going to launch a pilot prescription drug awareness program with the Healthcare Institute of New Jersey, which will include printed marketing materials for distribution, social and digital advertising to our realtors, educational programming for realtors and the public. The objectives of our program are to educate home sellers about securing their medicines while their house is on the market, open homes, open houses, showings, and to properly dispose of their unused medicines when they're moving out. Educate the broader community on securing medicines in their homes from their children, grandchildren, visitors to their home. We've also included it, and I believe there's been approval to include it in some of our continuing education. I know that in these safety seminars that I did this past year, I included it because I think it's important going forward that we do our part, and we've gotten some good buy-in from the Healthcare Institute and who else? There's somebody else, and Big Pharma. So we got them involved in it. We reworded a few things, but I'm looking forward to working with them and getting this off the ground and hopefully making some kind of a difference as a Realtor. So having said that now, it is my time to present our incoming president. Yeah, and I promised not to hit her with this. Eileen, you may stand. I have to look for the pen they gave me to give you. There it is. Okay. Congratulations. It's all yours.
That's it?
That's it. That's it.
Not much of a. Such a buildup.
You want me to talk about it more? I can do that for hours.
No, nobody wants to hear it. I don't.
Eileen and I have a very special relationship. We have each other on speed dial and we talk constantly.
Of course.
I don't have the shower cap that she has, but but she is royalty and promised to wear that today.
This will alleviate the nerves from everybody.
It looks a little more like the end of the Carol Burnett show. All yours, Cal.
Thank you, Chris. You can't go anywhere. We have presents for you. Chris.
Come out there.
Yeah, come on.
You're gonna hit me with something.
No, we have a commemorative plaque for you to thank you for all you've done for this.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. You have your past president and the Terrell honor. And this scrapbook. This is your photos and memory for you. Enjoy your scrapbook.
Do you have anything to do with it?
Yes, you did. And thank you for leadership and for handling everything we did this year with grace and heart. Thank you. And for all your help. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Before I give my few words, I'd first like to introduce your 2019 Executive Committee team. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Our 2019 leadership team is President-elect Angela Sicoli, Vice President Jeff Jones, your Treasurer Nick Manis, our immediate past President Christian Sluter, and we wouldn't be anything without our fearless leaders, your CEO Jared Grosso. Our past president, Robert Oppenheimer, he's the representative of the past presidents on the executive committee. Our executive officer, Representative Mary Kano. The regional vice presidents, Region 1, Cape May, Atlantic, Ocean City is Christine Rothwell. Not here. And actually, I'm sorry, as the regional directors, could you stand so everybody could see who you are? Christine's not here. Region 2, Nexus, Gloucester, Salem, Cumberland is Jean Johnarone. Region 3, North Central, West Essex, Passaic, Warren, Sussex is Phillips Berman. Region 4, Monmouth, Ocean Regional, and Metro Center, Core, Gloria Siciliano. Gloria's not here today. Oh, she's on, okay, she's online. Hi, Gloria. And Region 5, Liberty and Greater Bergen is Fran Blakely. Thank you all. I know we have a lot on our agenda, but just to take a few minutes, I'm very excited to begin my term as your 2019 president. And as Jared said, a large part of my focus this year is growing our communication with the member and the consumer as well. As you heard me speak at our installation, our industry We are responsible for making sure we communicate who we are and what we do accurately and efficiently to the public, as well as our own members. This is how I'm approaching 2019. I'm looking forward to a year where we can, as an association, but also as individuals, communicate why now, more than ever, the Realtor is a necessary center for every transaction. You've heard me say before, I think we do a good job getting our message out, but I think we could do a great job. So that's our focus, and I look forward to doing with you this year together as a team. We have some pretty exciting opportunities this year that we're going to be focusing on. In March, Jared and Teresa and I, we're going to be going to MIPIM, which is in France. MIPIM is in conjunction with the National Association of Realtors. It's a 4-day international event with 26,000 participants. It's one of the largest commercial real estate conferences in the world. New Jersey will be representing at the pavilion this year with Choose NJ. Choose NJ is the development arm of the state government who we've recruited to join us. And I could tell you, Jared and I were there last year. President Chris couldn't go. And it is really an amazing opportunity for us to be there. There's countries from all over. There's buildings, there's corporations, there's cities. Missouri is there. California was there. Florida, Washington State, Los Angeles, and it's North Carolina. It's just an opportunity for us to expand our horizons and hopefully find industries and businesses that want to come to New Jersey and build. We saw the Missouri Association of Realtors, a representative from Japan spoke to them about breeding and raising cattle and sending cattle to Missouri to buy farmland. So we feel that there's a lot of opportunity for us to be there this year. And we have a great presentation that we're doing, and that's something that we'll be doing in March. The town halls, we'll be meeting again, doing the town halls this year that President Chris started. This year, we're looking to do it a little bit differently, and we're hoping to incorporate CE as a possibility to get more attendance. Chris had a great idea wanting to get better member engagement, and I think we could do it. But what we ask is that each of you tell one more person and ask that person tell one more person. We can't just do it by ourselves. In order to continue to grow our leadership, grow our volunteerism, it comes from within. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because we're all here, but we have to do it also, just engage the members, tell them why you serve, tell them the benefits that you've gotten, and ask each of them to tell somebody else. And together, hopefully we can get better participation, more participation, because it's the future of our association. So we are looking to continue doing the town hall meetings, and then we'll give the local boards information about the CE and what we'll be doing from there. We are also submitting an application to the National Association of Realtors to be the Ambassador Association to Sweden. NAR's International Ambassador Program gives the opportunity to help our members expand their global business network and get involved internationally. If NAR appoints New Jersey to serve as a partner state to Sweden, we will work closely with that country and NAR's regional coordinators. We did select Sweden because they share two key industries, life sciences and healthcare. Interestingly enough, New Jersey's healthcare brings about $37 billion to the New Jersey economy, and our life science does about $47.5 billion to our economy. So sharing these two key industries will assist us in developing international business ties and network for our residential and commercial members, expanding our members' global business networks in Sweden and New Jersey. We are looking into developing a global and economic committee here for New Jersey Realtors. We just think there's growth that we need to be involved with. And we'll be getting more information about that, how we're going to work it, put this on the plan for this year. And as you know, it's the 50th anniversary of RPAC. Angela will give her RPAC update shortly. However, there are so many programs that are available for NAR and for us to do and get more involved with RPAC. And actually this year they did a video contest, and New Jersey Realtors was in the top part of the contest. We didn't win, but we came close.
We did. We were close. We got beat by Minnesota, and John Smaby's the president.
It was fixed.
Come on.
So when we were in Minnesota
I'm
this
saying
year
fixed.
at our the training that we had, they showed the video. So we were up there in the ranks. We just missed it slightly. So again, it's doing the ask. tell everybody, I think we need to do a better job telling people why and our members why we give. We can't just ask. We have to lead with direction. When we ask for the money, when we ask for the investment, tell them why you're giving. We have to lead by example. So of course, we want to continue making our goal and then some. And wear your pin proudly, tell it to everybody, and start having people believe in RPAC as well. So you can see we have a lot planned for this year, and I look forward to working with all of you, getting to the next level. Thank you. Angela, would you like to come up and do your report on our 2018 NAR? No? Angela's going to update us on the annual meeting from Boston.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's time to wake up. In November, we all attended the annual conference in Boston. We saw Charlie Oppler officially installed as NAR's 2019 first vice president. Many participated in the Realtor Relief 5K run, which turned out to be a great success. Despite the rain, we were able to raise quite a bit of money for the Realtor Relief Foundation. This year, NAR officially announced a strategic restructuring across across all major departments in order to enhance the member experience. The Commitment to Excellence tool was also released, which generates a learning path for you based on self-assessment. For more information, you can go on www.c2ex.realtor and you can connect, and it's quite an interesting tool. I've started it. You can do it at your own pace, and it is fantastic. So please look for it and start it. The Board of Directors passed a 5-year strategic framework to replace the association's strategic plan from 2014. It provides a more visionary, holistic, and business-oriented approach that reflects NAR's expanding role in technology and other areas that are vital and better for us realtors. And that's it, realtors. Thank you.
Actually, Angela's not going to give the RPAC report. She did an executive. I apologize. So if we, no, John, come on up.
I did it.
Our Division Officer for Industry Advocacy, John Terraby, is going to give our RPAC and the IMF report.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Boy, you guys are sleeping. Our 2018 total RPAC dollars raised was $898,754.78, which surpassed our previous year's total RPAC funds by a little over $1,000. We had 17,222 RPAC investors this year, about 1,000 more than last year, and had an RPAC participation rate of 35%. We also reached 118 RPAC major investors and 20 President Circle investors. Lastly, I'm pleased to say we exceeded our state goal this year, reaching 102% of our goal. As of December 20th, 2018, the RPAC, or Realtors Political Action Committee, has a total of $1,144,820.47, split between its 4 bank accounts. And I want to congratulate the following boards associations for making and surpassing their 2018 RPAC goal. Eastern Bergen County Board of Realtors, 141%. Real Source Association of Realtors, 124%. Sussex County Association of Realtors, 150%. West Essex Board of Realtors, 142%. Core Association of Realtors, 100%. Mercer County Association of Realtors, which now they're both together, but over 100% for them as well. Metro Association of Realtors, 105%. Monmouth Ocean Regional Realtors, 100%. Ocean County Board of Realtors,
112%, and Cape May Association of Realtors, 103%. That concludes my report on RPAC. So I'll give yourselves a hand there. And I want to thank all our RPAC donors for investing. The New Jersey Realtors Issues and Mobilization Fund, which approves research, reports, and authorizes funding to engage the public with an issue affecting real estate emerges, has approved proposals for 2 reports in the aftermath of fiscal year 2019 state budget process, where proposals were put forward but not adopted to increase the realty transfer fee on homes sold for over $1 million by 1% and to create a seasonal rental tax. The goal of these reports will be to have additional data to show the negative impact of such proposals to deter members of the state legislature from putting forward similar proposals in the future. These reports will be finalized at approximately the same time the governor presents his fiscal year 2020 budget proposal to the state legislature and will end well in advance of the June 30th deadline for the budget to be adopted. Phew. In addition, during the previous budget process, where there were proposals, where these proposals were considered, the Issues Mobilization Fund spent approximately $400,000 to help defeat these proposals. These funds were used for targeting data, phone calls, and emails to state legislator and social media advertising, urging these proposals to be defeated. The IMF trustees also approved up to $100,000 in spending on consumer advocacy outreach to engage the public when issues such as these arises. The outreach will take place on New Jersey political websites such as Insider NJ and as well as NJTV and NJ 101.5. Lastly, the IMF trustees approved funding to partner with the New Jersey Society of Certified Public Accountants to create a New Jersey property tax guide to help residents of New Jersey understand how home values are assessed, their property taxes are paid. I'm not going to drop it. And where the revenue from these taxes go to. This report is available at www.njpropertytaxguide.com. In total, the Issues and Mobilization Fund currently has $3,560,166.08, split between its 2 bank accounts. If there are any additional suggestions on research topics for the Issues Mobilization Fund trustees to consider, please contact Bruce Shapiro at the New Jersey Realtors. That concludes my report.
Thank you. It appears that Barry stepped out, so I couldn't tell him to leave because of the conflict of interest. Yes. So at this time, we need approval of our legal firm of Greenbaum, Rose, Smith, and Davis to act as our legal counsel for NJ Realtors for the year 2019. Is this
Yes.
okay? So a second, any discussion? Okay, is this this is also on the phone? Okay, so you'll be getting your text. You're not getting it?
Did you register through the meeting center?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay.
All right. Thank you. It's a matter of opinion.
Got it. Are they all in, William?
Tell them to head out to the car. Yeah.
Vote has passed.
Give 'em a breach.
You can, do you want to keep them out there longer?
Just give them.
Can I do the next? Okay. Next on the approval of Friedman LP as New Jersey Realtors Accountant for the year 2019. Do I have a motion? Second? Any discussion? William, send the vote.
He's up there. busting.
I'll read the minutes. I want to read all the comments in the minutes, okay?
They're on YouTube.
William, is the vote still going on?
YouTube. Knows my back is to you. Eileen, you got the thumbs up.
Thumbs up, it passed.
Very scientific.
Next, approval of bank resolutions authorizing New Jersey Realtors Treasurer Nick Manis, New Jersey Realtors CEO Jared Grasso, and Martha Shanice to conduct New Jersey Realtors financial business in 2019. May I have a motion? A second? Any discussion? Does he have to step out?
Do I need to step out?
You need to stay out.
Okay, everybody, take out your phones.
God, too much fun. Is it a 500 increase a year? No wonder, yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. What do you call that?
I'm hot, that's all, it's hot.
Go stand on the deck.
Nice, nice.
How many more seconds, William? 30 seconds goes so slow.
I know.
We should change it to.
Yeah, but then if we do that, then they get minus 2.
Yeah, I
We tried to find.
Okay, motion passed. Next business, unfinished business with Jared. Just wanted to touch on something.
Just real quick, the staff asked me to address this. When it comes to the meeting center, responding to an email saying that for the board of directors or for the executive committee is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to log into the meeting center to say that you're attending the meeting and so on and so forth. Some people, and I'm not pointing fingers, all right, well, responded to an email saying, yes, we're going to attend. That's great. But really, the way the meeting center works is that you're supposed to log in, follow the link that's provided, you log in, and that shows that you're attending. Yes, Robert.
Just so you know, I mean, I got a reminder, I think the other day, saying that I hadn't responded, and I had responded like before. So when I went to meeting center, there was no place to be able to resubmit my RSVP.
I'm looking at the back of the room. I'm looking at William, and he'll be happy to go over it with you. But yeah. Okay.
So I did respond to that email saying
That's
I
what I
had
did.
already responded. So
Okay.
That's what I
that
did
I
too.
had already said yes.
All right. I'm just passing. Don't kill the messenger ears. Hold on. Right. So as of yesterday, we had 10 people RSVP for this board of directors meeting. So that's why there was a second email that went out, kind of an urgent email saying we need people to respond. So
Already RSVP.
yes, you're right. We'll correct that for next time, Robert.
Okay, so everybody has to go online, go to the meeting center and RSVP.
Basically, yes.
Basically.
Log into it. Yes,
Okay.
Robert. Mr. Oppenheimer.
So if you go to the meeting center, on the upper left-hand side, there is another area that says RSVP. You have to click on that, and it'll show you what you actually.
Yes.
have.
Right.
So Robert, I did the same thing. I found that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Any questions on RSVPing?
I'll get back to you.
So under new business, Christina Clemens, would you like to come up and talk about the Housing Opportunity Foundation? Thank you.
I'd like to report on last year's Realtor Care Day, just an update for all of you. It was a huge success. I want you to know that the best ever state day that we had for a Realtor Care Day was this past year. 12 of our local boards participated, and there were approximately 200 Realtor volunteers. 15 sites were beautified, and hopefully all of you had a chance to look online on social media to see the photos. Just a great opportunity. This year, we've already picked the date, September 25th, with a rain date of September 26th. It's just a wonderful event that your members can really feel good about making a difference in their communities. So I encourage you all, please, to participate this coming year. The foundation is really hoping that we can get 100%, every board, to participate. So start working now and plan on that date. We also have an exciting project to give you an update on. Our foundation has secured NAR grant monies for the Boys and Girls Club Garden Project right here in Trenton. In fact, just a few blocks down the street. The garden project is an area across from the Boys and Girls Club where the children will be able to enjoy outdoor activities as well as learn about plants, animals, insects, and gardening. As part of the project, a little library is being constructed, and books on gardening, bird watching, plant, animal, and insect identification will be collected. On April 10th, of this year, with a rain date of April 11th, the trustees and NJR staff are volunteering, and hopefully leadership team, are volunteering for light construction and landscaping. So it's just going to be a great day. If you'd like to get involved or you have any questions or want to donate books, please contact Mary Pilar. Next, the foundation is sponsoring a luncheon featuring Holly Monskerins from NAR's Community Outreach Management Director. The session is entitled Realtor Party Grants, Helping Realtors Build Better Communities. And it's going to be held here just directly before our Board of Directors meeting on April 9th. It's just planned as a 1-hour luncheon immediately preceding this meeting. And it's for executive officers or local board staff representatives, board presidents, and foundation trustees. And we hope that those of you will join us to learn about funding that's available for bettering our communities, such as the grant we received for the Boys and Girls Club. So I hope to see you all here. It's just 1 hour earlier than the meeting, so add that to your schedule.
And they're getting food.
Oh, and you're getting food.
And everybody will be.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
And next, our Educational Foundation, Drew Fishman.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Drew.
The Educational Foundation, along with RPAC, is also entering our 50th year. Somehow I'm always involved and we have to collect money from everyone. So it's very important. We're going to be doing some special features coming up this year. The applications have to be in by the 5th of April by 5 p.m. Hopefully we don't see the last 2 hours before where we get 50 or 60 students. Not that they could be related to realtors doing the last minute rush and it knocks down the system, even though William will take care of that. We are actually at 102 applications as of yesterday already started, which is about a 65% increase from last year. In the past years, we generally wind up the day before the application process is done. We have wind up with over 100 that completed in the last 24 hours and about 60 in the last 4 or 5 hours. So this is a start, it's a process. So hopefully we'll have a lot more applications. The last 2 years, we've given out approximately 50 scholarships each year. for just under $60,000 a year. So we need your money. And we need your board's money, and we need everything to continue to come in. As part of the 50th anniversary, we're going to be launching a 50-year celebration campaign. So along with all the boards, with the merges going on, we hope we see part of the strength of merging was to make the boards that much stronger. So we hate to see any loss of mounts and hopefully more. We'd like to see everybody out there try to reach out and invest at least $50 individually to come towards the foundation as well. We'll be doing different things as the year goes forward to make sure that all happens. We're asking the boards to reach out. 50 years, we've had a few members have received scholarship funds. And we'd like to know where these students are, where they had, from practicing law to doctors and everything else, all through the process. We have, I guess it's 3 or 4 years ago now, our one trustee that came onto the board after she graduated, received her broker's license last year, and has been a member of the trustees now for 3 or 4 years. Gloria, who's out there on video, her daughter was a recipient about 3 or 4 years ago also. And from what I understand, when she graduated last year, she opened up a RE/MAX office in Asbury Park as the manager. So it's not just for real estate, but it's for our kids. And that's our future. That's our generation, where things are going. So we need everybody. You can reach out to past recipients. We'd like to hear from them. We'd like to recognize them as well as the contributors. And we'll have online setups going on. We'll be spotlighting our contributors on through the e-newsletter, social media. Full page advertisement will be in the Realtor magazine along with articles of the 50th anniversary. You can reach out to Mary Pilar, who will be putting everything together. Tomorrow we'll be restructuring our years. We change over for the new year with our leadership for next year. And we're going to be going through different sections. We're going to be reaching out. But so importantly is to please get money in there from everybody you can think of. Reach out, let us know whose members have received money in the past, and let's try to recognize our students and our future. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Mary, or the committee. And I thank you for your time. I'll take checks afterwards also.
Under new business, it's not on the agenda, but we're gonna have Barry give us an update on the BPO issue that was brought to our attention right before Triple Play.
Yeah. Just so everybody is aware, the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce has taken the position that any money earned by a salesperson for preparing a BPO is earned as an employee, not an independent contractor. We learned of this sometime last year when one of the members contacted us because she was audited, a brokerage firm was audited by the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce, and they isolated out the BPO payments to one salesperson in her office. She has a small office, and assessed penalties and interest for the last umpty years. So the total amount, including penalty and interest, that they wanted her to pay was a little over $5,000. Obviously, not a whole lot for her to, get involved in a lawsuit or to challenge it. And thankfully, she contacted us. I was in touch with the New Jersey Department of Labor and the Workforce. We had conference calls, Doug, Jared, and I, to try to deal with this issue. And the long and the short of it is that the Department of Labor and Workforce is taking the position that the exemption for real estate salespersons under the Unemployment Compensation Act, which says that salespersons, in order to be exempt, must be paid wholly on a commission basis. They are reading that to say it must be paid wholly on a percentage commission basis. They're reading into that language which is not there, unfortunately. There are lots of issues, and I've had discussions with people over there, the person who's supervising this particular case, and he says that they, at this point, don't want to move on it. They're going to pursue it, and you should be aware of it. There also was, we met at the Legal Affairs Committee, and I'm going to ask that, I believe that this board has to ratify what the Legal Affairs Committee did. And I can read you the motion that was passed by the Legal Affairs Committee. It says that they will provide financial support to broker member Sharon Zappia, who is the broker who contacted us, for attorney's fees and expenses incurred of up to $20,000 in the matter of State of New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development versus Sharon Zappia. Should the fees and expenses exceed the $20,000, the Legal Affairs Committee will reconvene to discuss additional support. New Jersey Realtors Counsel, Barry Goodman, will work on behalf of the New Jersey Realtors to support this matter. The reality is that we don't want to have a precedent there of her settling this, and then they can use that when they go to other brokers, who may have a dozen salespeople or 100 salespeople who have done BPOs over the last 7 years or so, which could be somewhat catastrophic in terms of the penalties, interest, et cetera. I know that Doug and Jared are working on this behind the scenes. I don't want to go too much into that, but the long and the short of it is you should be aware. And if somebody from one of your, offices reports to you that the Department of Labor and Workforce has come in on this issue and is saying that the, payments for the BPOs have to be as an employee and cannot be paid as an independent contractor under the independent contractor agreement, please contact Doug and Jared immediately. Okay. The money is paid through the broker for a BPO, but I will say, as do commissions, so there's no distinction there. Our position is very simple, that the payment for the BPO, I don't care if it's $50, $75, $100, whatever the number is, that's just a flat fee commission as opposed to a percentage commission. It's all paid the same way as any other commission. And for Department of Labor and Workforce to read into that language, which says they have to be paid wholly on a commission basis, that it has to be a percentage commission. And they also have indicated, although they're backing down a little, that it has to be paid a commission on the sale or rental of real estate. They're adding in there, which is not in there. Okay. So there are lots of issues that are involved here, and I don't want to get too detailed in terms of it, but I just want you to know that certainly Jared and Doug are on top of it, as am I. And if you hear of anything, please let us know.
Yeah, Bill Hanley.
Yeah, Bill. Bill, I informally had that debate with the supervisor who was overseeing this and gave me the news that the Department of Labor and Workforce didn't want to back down from his position. I said there are lots of models, flat fee for, brokers can have, it's $500 to put it in the MLS, $200 to put up a lockbox, whatever. There are lots of models out there. That's not a percentage commission. Are you telling me that that type of commission is no good? And he said, I don't think it is. I think that that's going to be a problem too. That's going to be an payment as an employee. And so there are lots of side issues. Believe me, I've thought about that. I argued it, but they didn't want to back down, at least not initially. So we'll see where it goes. But we want to make sure that, at least in this case, the attorney, and I recommended an attorney who represents one of the local boards to handle this. So I went to somebody who is fully familiar with, realtor issues. So we want to make sure that that Sharon Zappia's attorney's fees are going to be covered in terms of fighting this, and somebody who I know I'll be able to work with in terms of this issue.
Fran, did you have a question? I saw your hand.
Well, Chris answered. I said, can you be paid as an employee and as a 1099 independent contractor from one broker?
The answer is yes, you can be paid both as an employee and as an independent contractor. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you have a salesperson who gets paid commissions as an independent contractor, but also does administrative work and is paid on an hourly basis. Okay, that would be as an employee, that hourly basis. It's no longer a commission at that point. So yes, it can. Same broker can be paying somebody both ways.
Thank you. Any other questions? All the more reason to give to RPAC, all the reason that we have to get our message out, why realtors are important. Thank you, Barry.
Madam President, I would ask that the motion of the that was approved by the Legal Affairs Committee be put to a vote by the board.
Okay.
We'll just do a voice. Well,
Uh,
we don't, Tina, we don't want to send a notice out yet. This is still ongoing. We're bringing it to the board of directors' attention that we are aware of it and we're going to respond to it. If in fact we do lose this, then yes, we'll have to put out a notice to our members. But as of right now, I think that the advice is that we continue as status quo, because if we try to change anything, then that kind of puts us in a bad position, right, Barry?
Yeah, I mean, there are several options. You know, one is to fight the battle in terms of this particular, broker, see whether or not they start going after other brokers and how widespread it becomes. Allow Jared and Doug to see whether or not there's any way to try to deal with this other than a lawsuit. And at the end of the day, if we have to, file a separate lawsuit, which would be called a declaratory judgment lawsuit, seeking a declaration that Department of Labor and Workforce's interpretation is incorrect, we have that option.
Okay, so then we're going to make a motion to affirm the legal committee's action. And may I have a second? Any discussion? Okay, so William's going to send out the text. How many more seconds, William? Ta-da, is it ready? Motion passed. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you all again for giving your commitment and your time, serving your association, our association, your communities. Thank you for your commitment to our industry. I look forward to a great year. We're here as leadership to help you with anything. Staff is, Jared is. I'm finished on that note. I think we have a motion to adjourn.
You don't need a motion.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you again for everything. Okay, yes.
We've talked about it on the base of Barry's did every argument and this kind of presentation. Nice to meet you.
No.
I didn't get it yet either.
I saw the-